In this video, we are going to preview the Mail app. The Mail app may seem pretty straightforward, and you may think you have a good grasp of it, and you may, but I think there's a few things worth pointing out and going over to make sure you're getting the most out of the app. So the first thing I want to touch on is some of the settings for the Mail app, and the place to find the settings is in the actual settings for the iPad itself. So you're going to see the app with basically the gears on it, and it says settings, so touch that to get into the settings. And then if you scroll down here on the left hand side, you're going to see this Mail, Contacts, and Calendars tab, which basically that's where you find the settings for the mail, your contacts, your calendar, etc. So tap that to get into it, and then up at the top you're going to see some accounts, and one of those accounts that you'll have set up is your Stryker account. So touch that Stryker account, let's get in there and take a look at one of the options in here. And what I want to focus on is the mail days to sync, because I think that's an important option to look at. So let's touch that mail days to sync to get in there, and you can see I have mine set at no limit. So what this setting is basically telling you is it's telling the Mail app how far to look back to bring mail into your Mail app or on your iPad. So for example, if you have this set at 3 days, the Mail app is only going to look back 3 days to bring mail to your iPad. So anything older than 3 days will not appear in your mail. So I think this may be set at 1 month, I think, off the bat, right out of the box. So if you have it set at 1 month, that's a decent range, but if you're looking for anything, further back than a month, you'll have no luck on the iPad. So personally, my preference, I like to set this for myself at no limit, which means it's going to tell the Mail app to go back on the server and look for any information as far back as it can. So it exactly mirrors what I'm seeing on my iPad, on my computer in Outlook. So that's an important setting. Go ahead and play with it, see what works best for you, and we'll go from there. The next setting I'd like to show you is the preview pane. If you go back a little bit further under this mail setting, you see preview here. This setting also has 6 different options, and you can see I have mine set at 3 lines. This setting controls in the preview pane on the left hand side of the Mail application, which we'll see later, how many preview lines that it shows in the preview pane. So I found 3 to be pretty adequate, I should say, and 5 is a little bit overkill. If you have 5, you don't get to see very many messages. You have to scroll up and down a lot. So 3 works pretty well. Again, play with it, see what works best for you, but this is where that setting is found. The last thing I want to show you is down a little bit further. It's under the signature line. This is where you're going to put your signature in for your email. Customize it any way you like. You can't really add pictures like you can in Outlook. You can't add a web address, etc. It's just pretty much plain text, but put what you want in there, and once you put it in there, it's saved. So those are the settings that I want to basically cover. You can see there's a lot more you can play around with here, and just see what works best for you, and we'll go from there. So once we're done with the settings, we'll go back to our home screen, and let's open up the Mail app itself. And the first thing I'm going to cover, guys, is on the top right hand portion of the screen you're going to see 5 buttons. Okay, the first one is a flag button, which gives you 2 different options. One, you can flag it as important. You see it puts a little orange flag there, and that tells you that is important. You can also unflag that, or you can mark it as unread if that suits your needs for anything. So that's what that button does. This second button over to the right looks like a little folder with a down arrow. If you touch that, it basically shrinks that email and opens up the folder system that you have on your Outlook. It's the same thing that transfers over to your iPad, and it means you can move this message into any of your folders. So we'll go ahead, because this is from Pam Gordon, my sales rep, put this in the sales folder, and as you can see, when we're back in the inbox, it's no longer there. So that's what that little button does. It's basically moving an email to a specific folder. So the next button over obviously is the trash button, which I'm not going to hit because I want this email. But if you if you want to delete an email, that's where you're going to do it, from that button right there. And then the next button over looks like a left-hand arrow, and basically that's your reply button or your forward button. And pretty much just ignore your print here unless you have an air printer set up, which you probably don't. So if you need to reply to an email, you need to forward an email or reply all. If there's more than one contact on an email, it will be here as well. That's where you do it. And then the last button here, guys, all the way to the right is your compose. All right, and we'll get into this later, but this is where you're going to compose the message and send it out. Now, to look at the edit button, on the top left-hand side of the screen, you're going to see two buttons. You're going to see a mailbox button and you're going to see an edit button. Let's take a look at the mailbox button first. If you hit that mailbox button, it's almost like a back arrow. It's going to take us to the file structure that we have set up in our Outlook. So the mail application is smart enough to bring that whole file structure over into the mail app. So basically, you know, whatever you're doing, whether it's on your iPad, if it's on your laptop, it's all the same. So you can do both. You can do, you know, you can move and send and forward and reply from both, you know, exactly the same. So I can get in here to my CRM mailbox. You have a whole lot of mail organized in this folder. You know, customer service, MSR, HR, management. This is my whole file structure, and you can see each of these folders is populated with emails that are relevant to that category. So we'll get back to the inbox here. And we're going to review next this edit button, which is just to the right of the mailbox button at the top of the screen. Hit that edit button and you see what happens is kind of all the mail messages move over a little bit to the right, and you see a circle pop up on the left hand side of each message. So this is kind of like your bulk move or delete or marking section. So right here I can select each different file. And down at the bottom of the screen, you see three buttons appear: a delete button, a move button, and a mark button. So what this is telling me, because I've selected each of those messages, I can either delete them all, I can move them all, or I can mark them all. So I'm going to show you. I'll cancel this out. We'll hit the edit button again, and let's move these concur mail messages. Let's move them together at the same time into my travel folder. Let's find a travel. We just move those files over. So basically, when you hit your edit button, guys, it's just like a bulk move or a bulk delete area. You don't have to go through and swipe each message delete. So I'll show you. If you were to do that, you know, you'd have to do it one at a time. Delete, delete, delete. It's just a lot easier to hit that edit button, select each of those little circles by the messages you want to move or delete, and take care of it. So in a nutshell, that's pretty much all of the editing. A few more things to show you really quick. In your composing a mail message, let's go Albert Cruz, and we'll say, you know, RWO pictures. A few different things I want to show you in the compose section. First off, let's just type a paragraph. This is a message test. If you want to format text in any manner, all you need to do is touch and hold the screen until you see the magnified glass appear, and then release your finger, and you're going to see a new format bar appear right where your finger was. So you can either select or select all, depending what you want to do. We're going to go select, and you see two paddles appear. You can move these paddles with your finger to select the text that you want, and that bar appears again, and you can either copy or you can paste a section. But what I really want to show you is this BIU button here in the middle, which is your bold, italic, and underline button. It gives you the option to format your text. So a lot of people don't understand or know that that's there, but that's where you find it. So again, real quick, touch and hold, select the part of the text you want to format, and then the BIU button basically right there. So quote level, if you want to use that, that's for you know, like increasing or decreasing your margins. I don't use that too much, but it is there. So the last thing I want to show you guys is basically how to insert a picture into a message you're composing and you want to send out. I think it's important for us for sending pictures back and forth, either to quality or our managers, etc. Again, just put your finger on the screen where you want to insert the picture. Hold your finger on the screen until the magnified glass appears, and there we go. And then you'll see an option pop up for insert photo or video. So we'll go ahead and select that button right there. And what that does, it brings up our camera roll, which is basically all the photos that we've taken on our iPad. And by the way, this works the same way on your iPhone, so it's exactly the same. So for myself, I use mostly my iPad for taking pictures if I'm going to send picture quality, etc. So go ahead and select your camera roll, and we'll just select this photo right here, which brings the photo into like a little bit bigger of a preview. And then on the top part of that pop-up box, you see a use button. just tap that use button, and that photo is inserted into our email. So it's just as easy as that. Again, real quick in review, touch your finger on the screen where you want to insert the photo, hold until you see the magnifying glass, then release your finger and hit the insert photo or video button, which you can insert videos as well, guys, but I'm going to caution against that unless you're maybe on Wi-Fi, but you don't really want to use up your cell phone usage every month for sending videos on your email. It would just get out of control. So just be careful what you do. We obviously Stryker has us on a limit on how much data we can send and receive every month. So select your photo and hit the use button, and voila, there is your photo in your email. And then you can send that out and Albert Cruz will get it. In fact, I'll send it to myself and you can see how this works. David.Trombley @Stryker.com, and we'll go ahead and send it. It probably won't pop up for a second or two because it's a couple megs. So but that, in a nutshell, guys, is how to send photos, how to format your text, etc. The last thing that I'm going to show you in the Mail app is something that you may not know yet. Well, actually, I guess there's two things. The first thing is I'm going to show you how to print a message. So it's, again, using the Printer Pro application that is in another video. So if you haven't seen that video, go ahead and view that video, figure out how to set up Printer Pro on your laptop and your iPad for printing purposes. So just for the purposes of this video, we'll go ahead and show you how to do it. Just, again, put your finger on a white section, white part of the message. All right, and then hit select all button, and then hit copy, and then navigate to your Printer Pro app. And basically what we're doing is we're just copying that message. So from the Printer Pro app, you can go down here to clipboard settings, and you can see the last thing that was copied ends up on the clipboard in the Printer Pro, and from this point you can just print that message, and it will print to your printer with the settings that you have set. So that's how you print a message, basically, without an air printer, and it's pretty convenient if you need it. So we'll go ahead and we're just going to cancel this, clear that out. Let's get back into the mail settings very quickly. As you can see, my message just came in with the images that I sent. So which is very handy, again, for quality or sending a picture to your manager or another rep, etc. So the last thing I'm going to show you in this video is how to save an attachment. So right here, Praveen was kind enough to send me an email with an attachment. As you can see, it came down here at the bottom. So I want to save this to my file structure. I'm going to save this because I use Dropbox into my Dropbox folder, and that way I know it'll be available on my iPad, it will be available on my computer, and again, there's a Dropbox video. If you haven't taken a look at that video, go ahead and browse and find that video. It'll show you how to set up Dropbox and use Dropbox. So click on that attachment, and it's going to bring it up. We'll hit this export button at the top right here. It's the right facing arrow. And we're going to hit open in Dropbox right there, which is going to open up our Dropbox, and it's going to bring up a pop-up box, and it's going to ask us where we want to save this document. So I'm going to hit the destination as Dropbox. I want it in the Stryker folder, and I want it in quality. So I'm going to choose this folder, and the name is fine for me. So we're just going to go ahead and save it. And that file is now saved in my Dropbox. I can access it from any point. I can print from Dropbox. This file, since it's in Dropbox, is now available on my laptop. It's very easy to save an attachment, to print, etc. So when we're talking about the Mail app, there might be a few things you weren't aware of. You can definitely save documents. You can send pictures. You can format text. So any more questions, any further questions about what the Mail app can or can't do that wasn't covered in this video, please give me a shout out at my email, david.trombley@Stryker.com, or contact me on my cell phone. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.